that we're all on the same page about what I talked about with your students today. My name is Mrs. Hunt. I have been teaching now for 19 years. Like I said, just in case I don't get to see you on open house, I'd like to walk you around and show you a little bit about the room that I went over with your student today. Okay, so first thing to notice is that we do have a class set of tablets. Your student will be assigned one of them, and we use that for various things throughout the year, obviously. Let's see, there's a white dry erase board there that I will that they look at to tell them what they're supposed to do that day and what they're supposed to grab. A cell gel in case it's needed. Hopefully it won't be. Let's see, we have also TI Inspire. So this is where we do our warm-ups every morning or every time the student walks in the door, they're going to grab a TI Inspire. It will have questions on there from the unit or from the previous day. And the cool thing about these is that I send out the questions, they get their answers, send them back, and we go over them as a class. So it's an instant feedback. This year is actually these are calculator holders, but what I'm going to be using that for um, I'm going to be using for cell phones. So what I'd like for your student to do when they approach me at the door, I will be there at the door every class period, and I always say hey and just kind of start out the day with a nice positive interaction. And I can't do that if they're on the phone. So first thing I'll ask them is start putting the phone away as they're approaching the door, and then they can put their phone in these holder. Or they can put it away and I cannot see it the whole period. I'm a firm believer that there's a time and a place. I like my phone, but at work I'm not on it. And I expect the same thing for the students. So again, time and a place, and math class is not the time or the place for their cell phones unless there's some sort of activity we're doing where they might need it. So there are situations, but I think that we make that variation as we need to. Okay, this is kind of a little quick snapshot of the room. And so what you're going to find is little baskets at each of the desks. We have 4 whiteboards. We have hand sanitizer, calculators, pencils. There's some white board markers over there and erasers. These are things that we use obviously for the classroom. So I ask that all students, you're welcome to use pencils, whatever you'd like to use. Sometimes they're needed for activities, but everything needs to stay in this basket for all of my classes. You'll also notice the TI-30XA calculators. Those are the FSA calculators. Just so you know, your student has to pass the FSA for graduation. So hopefully, this is a one and done thing, hopefully, that they take it this year and pass it in the spring, and then they never have to take it again. Otherwise, we'll be working with them for concordance scores, try to get that test passed before they graduate. If you have any more questions on that, feel free to contact me. The last thing I want to talk about is what to do when a student is absent. So this is our nice little Blackboard page. It looks a little bit different if you were able to see Blackboard last year. And what you're going to notice is that this is kind of used mostly for teachers now as like lesson plans. And so basically I go in, I tweak it every day depending on what we're doing. So it is the responsibility of the student to look up what we did the day they were absent and be prepared when they get to class. If there are notes, I'll show you how to get to this. You can click on it and then you can see exactly so it opens up by the day and it says exactly what we did in class. Now, obviously this is the first day, so it's just kind of bullet points. But if we have a lesson, there will be a video that goes along with the lesson for that day, just to make sure that students are aware. If there's a worksheet, the worksheet will be there. So anything that the student would need when they're out, it is their responsibility. Let's face it, we're going to have quarantine. So when students are quarantined, like I said, we're not doing the Zooming, so they're not going to Zoom in, but they are responsible for going to Blackboard and finding everything that they need. And then the last thing you may want to know about is materials. So your student will obviously need to have pencils or pens. To me, it doesn't bother me either way. They need to have some paper, some paper that they can hand in. Notes for the most part will be provided. We should have workbooks. I'm actually looking at that right now. So they will have a paper workbook that goes home and back to class. It's kind of like a textbook and practice all in one. And that is something that they're responsible for keeping up with. So the notes will pretty much already be there for them, but they will need some paper for things that maybe are turned in. And so if you will now take a moment and fill out the syllabus electronic survey thing, I guess it is, but it's basically your agreement that you understand everything. If there are any questions, my contact information is also on that paper. Please email me or, kind of try to contact me however you feel necessary. And I hope to see you all at parent night.